Well, greetings again, everybody, gentle listeners, and worthy aspirants to relish the epic of Mahabharata by Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasadeva. So, in the last video, we finished with the chapter where suddenly Sanjaya informs Dhritarashtra that Drona has been killed. And so now we will have the flashback. We will retrace the narrative,
Oh,
and Sanjaya will give the entire account of the days of how Drona was killed and the days leading up to his being killed. So after on the 10th day, Bhishma was felled, and from the 11th to the 15th day, Dronacharya is the commander. So we had the Drona Abhishek Parva, a bit about his consecration to become the commander, and then the sudden news of his death. So I'll say Mangalacharana and carry on. Gurave Gaurachandraya Ratikaye Stadalahe Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Sri Guru, Sri Gaurangero, Jugalacharan, Sri Radhika Artar Joto Shakigam, Sri Krishna, O Krishna Bhakta, Tat Bhaktiragan, Bhumite Puriyabando Savaro Charan, Narayanam Namaskritya, Naram Chaiva Narottamam, Deving Saraswating Vyasam, Tato Jayam Udirayet. So, Mahabharata Dronabhishek Parva, chapter 986, part 9. Vaishampayan said, having asked the son of the Suta in this way, he was afflicted with terrible sorrow. The son of the Suta here is Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra lost all hope about his son's being victorious and fell down on the ground. On seeing that he had lost his senses and had fallen down, the attendants sprinkled him with water. The water was extremely cold and was perfumed. They fanned him, O great king, on seeing that he had fallen down. The women of the Bharata lineage surrounded him from every direction and gently rubbed him with their hands. They gently raised the king up from the ground. With tears choking their throats, the beautiful women placed him on his seat. Having attained his seat, the king was still not conscious. He was immobile. They stood around him and fanned him. Having slowly regained his senses, the king trembled. He once again began to ask the Suta, Gavalgana's son, about what exactly happened. um, he is like the rising sun. Footnote. Though it is not explicitly stated, this is Dhritarashtra speaking. End of footnote. He can dispel darkness through his own light. When Ajata Shatru advanced, how did Drona counter him? He is like an elephant with shattered temples. He is angry and swift. He is resplendent and single-minded in purpose. He is incapable of being repulsed by a rival. When he advanced for victory, like one who desires intercourse with a female, which brave warriors fought with that supreme of men in the field of battle. That mighty armed one is capable of consuming Duryodhana's entire army with his terrible glance. He has intelligence and is devoted to truth. He's talking about Yudhishthira. The supreme archer can destroy with his sight, even if he is not protected and he is fixed on victory. He is self-controlled and revered by the entire world. Which brave ones surrounded him? That undecaying king is supreme among archers and is difficult to resist. When Kaunteya, tiger among men, swiftly advanced and attacked Drona, who on my side countered him? Which brave ones surrounded the advancing Bhimasena? Bibatsu is extremely valorous. He rides on a chariot that is like a dense cloud. He creates a tumultuous shower like thunder. He showers arrows, sun showering rain. The one with the monkey on his banner envelops the sky with his mass of arrows. All the directions resound with the clapping of his palms and the roar of his chariot wheels. The sound of his arrows makes him difficult to cross. His anger can thwart the clouds. His arrows are as swift as thought. His fierce arrows penetrate the inner organs. He floods the entire earth with blood, so that men find it difficult to traverse. In that battle, Duryodhana made endeavors and raised his terrible club. What did he do when Vijaya, the wielder of Gandiva, used arrows sharpened on stone and tufted with the feathers of vultures? When the intelligent one did this and destroyed the army with the sound of Gandiva, what was his state of mind then? Duryodhana's. Arjuna performed terrible deeds and advanced fiercely. When Dhananjaya used his arrows to attack Drona, what did he do? He was like wind scattering clouds, or like a tempest destroying reeds. Which man can stand against the wielder of the Gandiva in battle? Soldiers trembled, and brave ones were touched by fear. Who were those who did not forsake Drona, and who were the ones who ran away? Who were the ones who gave up their lives and advanced towards death? Dhananjaya had vanquished superhuman combatants. Those on my side are incapable of withstanding the force of his white horses. Gandiva's noise is like the roll of thunder. Vishvakshena is the charioteer of the warrior Dhananjaya, meaning Krishna, of course. It is my view that this chariot cannot be vanquished, even by the gods and the Asuras. The brave Pandava is delicate, young, brave, and handsome. He is intelligent and skilled. He is wise in war, and truth is his valor. When Nakula emitted a loud roar, what did all the Kauravas do? When the intelligent one advanced, which brave ones surrounded him? Sahadeva was like an angry snake with virulent poison. He is invincible in battle. When he advanced against the enemy, who countered him? He is noble in his vows. He cannot be assailed. He is modest and unvanquished. When he advanced against Drona, which brave ones surrounded him? He, 47, Satyaki, crushed the large army of the Sauvira kingdom. He obtained as his queen the desirable princess of Bhuja, who was beautiful in all her limbs. Truth, valor, and brahmacharya are always completely vested in him. Duryodhana is a bull among men. He is strong. He is truthful in his deeds. He is never distressed. He is unvanquished. He is Vasudeva's equal in battle and is regarded as a second to Vasudeva. Instructed by Dhananjaya, he has become as brave as his preceptor in deeds. He is Partha's equal in use of weapons. who restrained him when he advanced against Drona. He is supremely brave among the Vrishnis. He is valiant among all archers. He is Rama's equal in weapons, fame, and valor. He is supreme in truthfulness, fortitude, self-control, valor, and brahmacharya. All these are in Satota, just as the three worlds are in Keshava. Vested with all these qualities, he is incapable of being resisted by odds. When that great archer advanced, which brave ones surrounded him? The best of the Panchalas is loved by all those who have been born from noble lineages. Uttamoja always performs supreme deeds in battle. He is always engaged in Dhananjaya's welfare and in supreme injury towards me. He is the equal of Yama, Vaishravana, Aditya, the great Indra, and Varuna. He is famous as a Mahabharata and fought against Drona in the battle. He was prepared to give up his life in that tumult. Which brave ones surrounded him? Drishtaketu was the only one among the Chedis who went to the Pandavas. When he advanced against Drona, who opposed him? The brave Ketuman slew Prince Sudarshana at the other end of the gate to the mountains. Footnote. The gate to the mountains may be a reference to Giri Vraja. That's where Jarasanda's palace is. End of footnote. When he advanced against Drona, who countered him? The tiger among men was a woman earlier, and is conversant with his own good and bad qualities. Yagyasena's son, Sikandi, is never distressed in battle. He was the reason behind the death of the great-souled Devavrata in battle. When he advanced toward Drona, which brave one surrounded him? In all the qualities, the brave one surpasses Dhananjaya. His weapons are always truth and brahmacharya. He is Vasudeva's equal in valor and Dhananjaya's equal in strength. He is like the sun in his energy and like Brihaspati in his intelligence. The great soul, Abhimanyu, is like death with a gaping mouth. When he advanced towards Drona, which brave ones surrounded him? Subhadra's son is the destroyer of enemy heroes. He is young, but is celebrated as the ocean. When he advanced against Drona, what was the state of your mind then? Draupadi's sons are tigers among men. They rushed towards Drona in that battle like rivers towards the sea. Which brave ones repulsed them? Which brave ones repulsed them? Those children gave up all play for 12 years. They observed supreme vows and for the sake of weapons served Bhishma. They were Kshatranjaya, Kshatradeva, Kshatradharma, and Manima, the brave sons of Drishtadyumna. When they advanced against Drona, who opposed them? The Vrishnis look upon him as the equal of 100 armored ones in battle. When the great archer Chekitana advanced against Drona, who countered him? Anadrishtri was the son of Vridhakshena and was never distressed in his soul. He once abducted the princess of Kalinga in battle. Who restrained him when he advanced against Drona? The 5 brothers from Ketaya are devoted to Dharma, and truth is their valor. Their complexions like fireflies, their armor, weapons, and standards are red. Those brave ones are the sons of the Pandavas' mother's sister and desire their victory. When they attacked so as to kill Drona, which brave ones surrounded them? The angry kings fought against him for 6 months in Varanavata, wishing to kill him. but could not defeat him. He is the Lord of battles. He is supreme among archers and is brave. He is extremely strong and is unwavering in his aim. When that tiger among men attacked Drona, who countered Yuyutsu? In Varanasi, wishing to obtain a wife, the Mahabharata used a broad-headed arrow in battle to bring down the son of the king of Kashi from his chariot. Dristadumna, the great archer, is the counselor of the Parthians. He was created for Drona's death and is engaged in causing injury to Duryodhana. In the battle, he consumed the warriors and shattered the ranks. When he advanced towards Drona, which brave ones restrained him? Sikandi's son, Kshatradeva, was reared in Drupada's lap and is skilled in the use of weapons. Who restrained his advance against Drona? Ushinara's Mahabharata son covered the entire earth with the pole of his chariot, as if girding it with the handle of a calf. Footnote. Ushinara's son is Shibu, but son is being used in an extended sense here, meaning grandson. The person in question is Saibya. Shibi's son is Ushinara's grandson. End of footnote. Who restrained his advance against Drona? Ushinara's monarch's son covered the entire earth with the pole of his chariot as if girding it with the hide of a calf. He is foremost among those who kill the enemy. He performed 10 horse sacrifices, a substitute for all sacrifices, and provided an abundance of food, drink, and dakshina. He protected his subjects as if they were his own sons. The brave one gave away as many cattle as dakshina as there are grains of sand in the waters of the Ganga. No man has accomplished such a deed earlier, nor will any man perform this feat in the future. The gods themselves, soon coming, get ready. The gods themselves, from the next person. This exclaimed, this is an extremely difficult deed. The three worlds, with their mobile and immobile objects, we do not see a second person like Ushi Nara's son, who has been born or will be born. Shaibya is brave. After death, he will go to places that are not attainable by men of this world. Who repulsed the grandson of Shaibya when he advanced towards Drona like death with a gaping mouth? Virata of Matsya has an army of chariots and is the killer of enemies. When he advanced against Drona in battle, which brave ones surrounded him? Vrikodara's son grew up in a single day. Footnote. Gatotkacha grew up in a single day. End of footnote. He is immensely strong and powerful. He is a terrible Rakshasa and knows the use of Maya. He causes great terror among those on my side. He desires the victory of the Parthians and is a thorn for my sons. Who restrained the mighty-armed Gatotkacha's advance towards Drona? O Sanjaya, there are many others who have their objective in mind. They are prepared to give up their lives in battle. Who can they not vanquish? Their refuge is the tiger among men, the wielder of the Sharanga bow. That's Krishna. He desires the welfare of the Parthians. How can they be defeated? He is infinite. He is the preceptor of the worlds. He is the eternal protector of the worlds. The divine Narayana is the protector in all battles. He is the Lord with the celestial soul. The learned ones speak about his divine deeds. I will recount his deeds with devotion. and thus obtain calmness in my own self. Ah, great. That's amazing, isn't it? Okay, who's next?
Yeah, I can go. I don't mind.
You're on section 11 then, yeah?
Yeah,
Was
just
it
getting
running the
ready.
same? Were you following it through?
No, I'm
Sometimes,
not actually following. I'm just
uh,
listening while doing
sometimes the
drawings.
chapter divisions are different. So let's just see. So he's going to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've got a nice thing to read now, Connor.
What? Oh, what a chapter.
Well, this bit, chapter section 11, it's really good.
Hmm. Right.
Now
Yeah.
I shall disappear.
Well, chapter 11. Dhritarashtra said, "Hear, O Sanjaya, the celestial feats of Vasudev, feats that Govinda achieved, and the like of which no other person hath ever been able to achieve. Whilst being brought up, O Sanjaya, in the family of the cowherd Nanda, that high-souled one, while yet a boy, made the might of his arms known to the three worlds. Even then he slew Hayaraja, living in the woods on the shores of the Jamuna, who was equal to the celestial steed. Uchachashvam. Uchaishravas in strength, and the wind itself in speed. So that's the celestial steed. In childhood, he also slew with his two bare arms the Danava in the form of a bull, of terrible deeds, and risen like death himself unto all the kine. Of eyes like the lotus petals, he also slew the mighty Asuras named Pralamba and Naraka and Jamba and Pitta, as also Mura, that terror of the celestials. And so also Kangsha of mighty energy, who was, besides, protected by Jarasandha, was, with all his followers, slain in battle by Krishna, aided by his prowess alone, with Valadev as his second. That slayer of foes is Krishna, consumed in battle with all his troops, the king of the Surasenas, Sunaman, of great activity and prowess in battle, the lord of a full Akshuhini, and the valiant second brother of Kangsha, the king of the Bojas. The highly wrathful regenerate Rishi, gratified with the adoration, gave him boons of eyes like the lotus petals, and endued with great bravery, Krishna, vanquishing all the kings at his self-choice, bore away the daughter of the king of the Gandharas. Those angry kings, as if they were horses by birth, were yoked unto his nuptial car and were lacerated with the whip. The mighty arm Janardana as also caused Jarasandha, the lord of a full Akshuhini of troops, to be slain through the instrumentality of another. The mighty Krishna also slew the valiant king of Chedis, that leader of kings, as if he were some animal, on the occasion of the latter's disputing about the Agya. Putting forth his prowess, Madhava hurled unto the sea the Daitya city called Soba, moving in the skies, protected by Shalva, and regarded as impregnable. The Angas, the Vangas, the Kalingas, the Magadhas, the Kashis, the Koshalas, the Vatsyas, the Gargyas, the Karushas, and the Pauntras. All these he vanquished in battle. The Avantis, the Southerners, the Mountaineers, the Dasarakas, the Kashmirakas, the Aurashikas, the Pisachas, the Samatgulas, the Kambojas, the Vatadanas, the Cholas, the Pandyas, O Sanjaya, the Trigartas, the Malavas, the Daradas, difficult of being vanquished. The Kashas arrived from diverse realms, as also the Shakas and the Yavanas with followers were all vanquished by him of eyes like lotus petals. In days of old, penetrating into the very sea, he vanquished in battle Varuna himself in those watery depths, surrounded by all kinds of aquatic animals. Slaying in battle the Danava named Panchajanya, living in the depths of Patala, Rishikesh obtained the celestial conch called Panchajanya. The mighty Keshava, accompanied by Partha, having gratified Agni at Kantadav, obtained his invincible weapon of fire, his discus called Shudarshana. Riding on Vinata's son and frightening the denizens of Amaravati, the heroic Krishna brought from Mahendra himself the celestial flower called Parijata. Knowing Krishna's prowess, Shakra quietly bore that act. We have never heard that there is anyone among the kings who has not been vanquished by Krishna. That exceedingly wonderful feat also, O Sanjaya, which the lotus-eyed one performed in my court. Who else is capable of performing it? And since, humbled by devotion, I was suffered to behold Krishna as the Supreme Lord, everything about that feat is well known to me, myself having witnessed it with my own eyes. O Sanjaya, the end can never be seen of the infinite achievements of Rishikesh, of great energy and great intelligence. Gada, Samva, and Pradyumna, and Vidurata, and Charodeshna, and Sarana, and Ulmuka, and Nisata, and the valiant Jilavabu, and Prithu, and Vipriptu, and Samika, and Arimejaya. These and other mighty Vrishni heroes, accomplished in smiting, will stand on the field of battle, take up their position in the Pandava host, when summoned by that Vrishni hero is the high-souled Keshava. Everything on my side will then be in great danger. Even this is what I think. And there where Janardana is, there will be the heroic Rama, equal in strength to 10,000 elephants, resembling the Kailash peak, decked with garlands of wild flowers and armed with the plough. That Vasudev, O Sanjaya, whom all the regenerate ones describe as the father of all, will that Vasudev fight for the sake of the Pandavas? O Sanjaya, if he puts on his armor for the sake of the Pandavas, there is none amongst us who can be his antagonist. If the Kauravas happen to vanquish the Pandavas, he, of the Vrishni race, will then, for the sake of the latter, take up his mighty weapon. And that tiger among men, that mighty armed one, slaying then all the kings in battle as also the Kauravas, will give away the whole earth to Kunti's son. What car will advance in battle against that car which has Rishikesh for its driver and Dhananjaya for its warrior? The Kurus cannot, by any means, gain victory. Tell me, then, everything about how the battle took place. Arjuna is Keshava's life, and Krishna is always victory. In Krishna is always fame. In all the worlds, Vibhatsu is invincible. In Keshava are the infinite merits in excess. The foolish Duryodhana, who doth not know Krishna or Keshava, seems, through destiny, to have death's noose before him. Alas, Duryodhana knows not Krishna of Dasarha's race and Arjuna, the son of Pandu. These high-souled ones are ancient gods. They are even Nara and Narayana. On earth they are seen by men as two separate forms, though in reality they are both possessed by one soul. With the mind alone, that invincible pair of worldwide fame can, if only they wish it, destroy this host. Only in consequence of their humanity, they do not wish it. Like a change of the Yuga, the death of Bhishma, O child, and the slaughter of a high-souled Drona, overturn the senses. Indeed, neither by brahmacharya, nor by the study of the Vedas, nor by religious rites, nor by weapons can anyone prevent death. Hearing of the slaughter of Bhishma and Drona, those heroes accomplished in weapons, respected by all the worlds, and invincible in battle, O Sanjaya. Why, O Sanjaya, do I yet live? In consequence of the death of Bhishma and Drona, O Sanjaya, we will henceforth have to live as dependents on that prosperity, beholding which in Yudhisthira we had before been so jealous. Indeed, this destruction of the Kurus hath come in consequence only of my acts. O Sutta, in killing these that are ripe for destruction, the very straw becomes thunderbolt. That prosperity is without end in this world. In this, there's this mistake in the grammar. That prosperity is without end in this world which Yudhisthira is about to obtain. Yudhisthira, through whose wrath both Bhishma and Drona have fallen, in consequence of his very disposition, hath righteousness gone over to the side of Yudhisthira. Coming up to the end of this chapter, I'll take a break. While it is hostile to my son, alas, time so cruel that hath now come for the destruction of all cannot be overcome. Things calculated in one way, O son, even by men of intelligence, become otherwise through destiny. This is what I think. Therefore, tell me everything that has taken place during the progress of this unavoidable and dreadful calamity, productive of the most sorrowful reflection, incapable of being crossed over by us. That's the end of chapter 11. Anyone else is ready? Hey, Dana.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
So now we begin the chapter, section 12.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, slow that down. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sanjaya said, "Yes, as I saw everything with my own eyes, I will describe to thee how Drona fell down, slain by the Pandavas and the Srinjayas. Having obtained the command of the troops, that mighty car warrior, Bharadwaja's son, said these words unto thy son in the midst of all the troops. Insomuch as, O king, thou hast honoured me with the command of the troops immediately after that bull among the Kauravas, the son of the ocean-going Ganga, take thou, O Bharat, the adequate fruit of that act of thine. What business of thine shall I now achieve? Ask thou the boon that thou desirest." Then King Duryodhana, having consulted with Karna and Dushashana and others, said unto the preceptor, that invincible warrior and foremost of all victors, these words. If thou wouldst give me a boon, then seizing that foremost of car warriors, Yudhishthir alive, bring him unto me here. Then that preceptor of the Kurus, hearing those words of thy son, returned him the following answer, gladdening all the troops therewith. Praise be Kunti's son Yudhishthir, who seizing only thou desirest. O thou that art difficult of being vanquished, thou ask not any other boon, one, for example, for his slaughter. For what reason, O tiger among men, dost thou not desire his death? Thou art without doubt, O Duryodhana, not ignorant of policy. Why, therefore, dost thou not allude to Yudhishthir's death? It is a matter of great wonder that King Yudhishthir, the just, have no enemy desirous of his death. Insomuch as thou wishest him to be alive, thou either seekest to preserve thy race from extinction, or, chief of the Bharats, thou, having vanquished the Pandavas in battle, art desirous of establishing brotherly relation with them by giving them their kingdom. Auspicious was the birth of that intelligent prince. Truly is he called Ajatasattu, the foeless one, for even thou bearest affection for him. Thus addressed by Drona, O Bharat, the feeling that is ever present in thy son's breast suddenly made itself known. Not even persons like Brihashpati can conceal the expressions of their countenance. For this thy son, O king, filled with joy, said these words, by the slaughter of Kunti's son in battle, O preceptor, victory cannot be mine. If Yudhishthir were slain, Partha then, without doubt, would slay all of us. All of them, again, cannot be slain by the very gods. He amongst them that will, in that case, survive, will exterminate us. Yudhishthir, however, is truthful in his promises. If brought hither alive, vanquished once more at dice, the Pandavas will once more go to the woods, for they are all obedient to Yudhishthir. It is evident that such a victory will be an enduring one. It is for this that I do not, by any means, desire the slaughter of King Yudhishthir, the just. Ascertaining this crooked purpose of Duryodhana, Drona, who was conversant with the truths of the science of prophet and gifted with great intelligence, reflected a little and gave him the boon, circumscribing it in the following way. Drona said, if the heroic Arjuna do not protect Yudhishthir in battle, thou mayest think the eldest Pandava is already brought under thy control. As regards Partha, the very gods and the Asuras together, headed by Indra, cannot advance against him in battle. It is for this that I dare not to do what thou askest me to do. Without doubt, Arjuna is disciple, and I was his first preceptor in arms. He is, however, young, endued with great good fortune, and excessively intent on the achievement of his purposes. He hath obtained, again, many weapons from Indra and Rudra. He hath besides been provoked by thee. I dare not therefore do what thou askest me. Let Arjuna be removed, by whatsoever means that can be done from the battle. Upon Partha being withdrawn, thou mayest regard King Yudhishthir as already vanquished. Upon his seizure is victory, and not upon his slaughter, O bull among men. Even by stratagem can his seizure be accomplished. Seizing that king, devoted to truth and righteousness, I will, without doubt, O monarch, bring him to thy control this very day. If he stays before me in battle, even for a moment, of course, if Dhananjaya, the son of Kunti, that tiger of men, be withdrawn from the field. In Falguni's presence, however, O king, Yudhisthira is incapable of being taken in battle, even by the gods and the Asuras headed by Indra. Sanjay continued, after Drona had promised the king's seizure, even under these limitations, thy foolish sons regarded Yudhisthira as already taken. Thy son, Duryodhana, knew Drona's partiality for the Pandavas. In order to make Drona stick to his promise, therefore, he divulged those counsels. Then, O chastiser of foes, the fact of Drona's having promised to seize the eldest Pandava was proclaimed by Duryodhana unto all his troops. Next section. Section 13. Sanjaya said, after Drona had promised the king's seizure under those limitations, thy troops, hearing of that promise about Yudhisthira's capture, uttered many leonine shouts, mingling them with the whiz of their arrows and the blare of their conches. King Yudhisthira the Just, however, O Bharat, soon learnt in detail, through his spies, everything about the purpose of what Bharadwaja's son was intent. Then bringing together all his brothers and all the other kings of his army, King Yudhisthira the Just addressed Dhananjaya, saying, thou hast heard, O tiger among men, about the intention of Drona. Let such measures, therefore, be adopted as may prevent the accomplishment of that purpose. It is true, Drona, that grinder of foes, hath vowed his pledge, subject to limitations, however. O great bowman, rest on thee. Fight thou therefore today, O thou of mighty arms, in my vicinity, so that Duryodhana may not obtain from Drona the fruition of his desire. Arjuna said, as the slaughter of my preceptor can never be accomplished by me, so, king, I can never consent to give thee up. O son of Pandu, I would rather yield up my life in battle than fight against my preceptor. The son of Dhritarashtra desireth sovereignty, having seized thee as a captive in battle. In this world, he will never obtain the fruition of that desire of his. The firmament itself with its stars may fall down. The earth herself may split into fragments. Yet Drona will surely never succeed in seizing thee as long as I am alive. If the wielder of the thunderbolt himself, or Vishnu at the head of the gods, assist him in battle, still he shall not succeed in seizing thee on the field. As long as I am alive, O great king, it behoveth thee not to entertain any fear of Drona. Although he is the foremost of all wielders of weapons, I further say unto thee, O monarch, that my promise never remains unfulfilled. I do not recollect having ever spoken any untruth. I do not recollect having ever been vanquished. I do not recollect having ever, after making a vow, left the least part of it unfulfilled. Sanjaya continued. Then, O king, conches and drums and cymbals and smaller drums were sounded and beaten in the Pandava camp. And the high-souled Pandavas uttered many leonine shouts. These and the awful twang of their bowstrings and the slaps of palms reached the very heaven. Hearing that loud blare of conches that arose from the camp of the mighty sons of Pandu, diverse instruments were sounded amongst thy divisions also. Then thy divisions, as also those of theirs, were arrayed in order of battle, and slowly They advanced against each other from desire of battle. Then commenced a battle that was fierce and that made the hair stand on their ends between the Pandavas and the Kurus and the Drona and the Panchalas. The Srinjayas, though struggling vigorously, were unable to beat in battle the host of Drona, as it was protected by Drona himself. And so, also the mighty Ka warriors of thy son, skilled in smiting, could not beat the Pandava host, and it was protected by the diadem-decked Arjuna. Protected by Drona and Arjuna, both the hosts seemed to stand inactive like two blossoming forests in the silence of the night. Then he of the golden car, Drona, like the sun himself, of great splendor, crushing the ranks of the Pandavas, careered through them at will. And the Pandavas and the Srinjayas, through fear, regarded that single warrior of great activity upon his quickly moving car as if multiplied into many. Shot by him, terrible shafts coursed in all directions, frightening, O king, the army of Pandu's son. Indeed, Drona then seemed as the sun himself at midday, covered by 100 rays of light. And as the Danavas were unable to look at Indra, so there was not one amongst the Pandavas who, O monarch, was able to look at the angry son of Bharadwaj in battle. The valiant son of Bharadwaj then, having confounded the hostile troops, speedily began to consume the division of Drishtajumna by means of sharp shafts, and covering and obstructing all the points of the compass by means of his straight shafts, he began to crush the Pandava force even there, where Rishata's son was. Section 40. Sanjaya said, then Drona, causing a great confusion in the Pandava host, careered through it like a conflagration, consuming a forest of trees. Beholding that angry warrior, owning a golden car, consume their divisions like a raging conflagration, the Srinjayas trembled in fear. The twang in that battle of the constantly stretched bow of that warrior, great activity, was heard to resemble the roar of thunder. Fierce shafts shot by Drona, endued with great lightness of hand, began to crush car warriors and horsemen and elephant warriors and foot soldiers along with elephants and steeds. Showering his arrows as the roaring clouds at the close of summer, assisted by the wind, pour hailstones, he inspired fear in the hearts of the foe. Coursing through the hostile ranks, O king, and agitating the troops, the mighty Drona enhanced the unnatural fear entertained by the enemy. The gold-decked bow on his quickly moving car was repeatedly seen to resemble the lightning's flash midst the mass of dark clouds. That hero, firm in truth, endued with wisdom, and always devoted, besides to righteousness, caused an awful river of angry current, such as may be seen at the end of the Yuga, to flow there. And that river had its source in the impetuosity of Drona's wrath, and it was haunted by crowds of carnivorous creatures, and the combatants constituted the waves that filled its entire surface. And heroic warriors constituted the trees on its banks, whose roots were constantly eaten away by its current. And its waters were constituted by the blood that was shed in that battle, and cars constituted its eddies, and elephants and steeds formed its banks, and the costs of mail constituted its lilies, and flesh of creatures, the mire on its bed, and the fat, marrow, and bones of fallen animals and men form the sands on its beach, and fallen headgears its froth. And the battle itself that was fought there constituted the canopy above its surface, and lances constituted the fish with which it abounded. And it was inaccessible in consequence of the large number of slain men, elephants, and steeds that fell in it, and the impetus of the shaft shot constituted its current. And the slain bodies themselves constituted the timber floating on it. And the cars constituted its tortoises, and the heads constituted the stones scattered on its banks and bed, and scimitars its fish in profusion. And cars and elephants formed its lakes, and it was decked with many ornaments. And mighty car warriors constituted its hundreds of little whirlpools, and the dust of the earth constituted its wavelets. And capable of being easily crossed by those possessed of exceeding energy, it was incapable of being crossed by the timid. And heaps of dead bodies constituted the sandbanks, obstructing its navigation. And it was the haunt of the cankers and vultures and other birds of prey. And it carried away thousands of mighty car warriors to the abode of Yama. And long spears constituted the snakes that infested it in profusion, and the living combatants constituted the fowls sporting on its waters. Torn umbrellas constituted its large swans. Diadems formed the smaller birds that adorned it. Wheels constituted its turtles, and maces its alligators, and arrows its smaller fish. And it was the resort of frightful swarms of crows and vultures and jackals. That river, O best of kings, bore away in hundreds to the region of the Pitris, the creatures that were slain by Drona in battle. Obstructed by hundreds of bodies floating on it, the hair of the slain warriors and animals constituted its moss and weeds. Even such was the river, enhancing the fears of the mind that Drona caused to flow there. And when Drona was thus grinding the hostile army hither and thither, the Pandava warriors, headed by Yudhisthira, rushed at that mighty car warrior from all sides. Then seeing them thus rushing towards Drona, brave combatants of thy army, possessed of unyielding prowess, rushed from every side. And the battle that thereupon ensued made the hair stand on end. Sakuni, full of 100 kinds of deceit, rushed towards Sahadev and pierced the latter's charioteer and standard and car with many keen pointed shafts. Sahadev, however, without being much excited, cut off Suvala's standard and bow and car driver and car with sharp arrows, pierced Suvala himself with 60 shafts. Thereupon, Suvala's son, taking up mace, jumped down from his excellent car, and with that mace, O king, he felled Sahadev's driver from the latter's car. Then these two heroic and mighty warriors, O monarch, both deprived of car and both armed with mace, sported in battle like two crests on hills. Drona, having pierced the ruler of the Panchalas with his 10 shafts, was in return pierced by the latter with many shafts. and the latter was again pierced by Drona with a larger number of shafts. Bhimashen pierced Vivinsati with sharp arrows. The latter, however, thus pierced, trembled not, which seemed to be highly wonderful. Vivinsati then, O monarch, suddenly deprived Bhimashen of his steeds and standard and bow. And thereupon all the troops worshipped him for that feat. The heroic Bhimashen, however, brook not that exhibition of prowess by his enemy in battle. With his mace, therefore, he slew the well-trained steeds of Vivinsati. Then the mighty Vivinsati, taking up a shield and sword, jumped down from that car whose steeds had been slain, and rushed up against Bhimashen like an infuriated elephant rushing against an infuriated compeer. The heroic Salya, laughing the while, pierced, as if in dalliance, his own dear nephew, Nakula, with many shafts for angering him. The valiant Nakula, however, cutting off his uncle's steeds and umbrella, and standard and charioteer and bow in that battle, blew his conch. Dristiketu, engaged with Creeper, cut off divers kinds of arrows shot at him by the latter, and then pierced Creeper with 70 arrows. And then he cut off the device of Creeper's standard with 3 arrows. Creeper, however, began to oppose him with a thick shower of arrows. And resisting him in this way, the Brahmana fought on with Drishtaketu. Satyaki, laughing the while, pierced Kritavarman in the center of the chest with a long arrow, and piercing him then with 70 arrows, he once more pierced him with many others. The Boja warrior, however, in return, pierced Satyaki with 70 arrows of keen points. Like the swiftly coursing winds failing to move a mountain, Kritavarman was unable to move Satyaki or make him tremble. Senapati deeply struck Susaman in his vitals. Susaman also struck his antagonist with a lance on the shoulder joint. Virata, aided by his Matsya warriors of great energy, resisted Vikartana's son in that battle. And that feat of the Matsya king seemed highly wonderful. Even this was regarded as an act of great valor on the part of the Suta's son, in that he singly resisted that whole force by means of his straight shafts. King Drupad was engaged with Bhagadatta, and the battle between those two warriors became beautiful to behold. That bull among men, Bhagadatta, pierced King Drupad and his driver and standard and car with many straight shafts. Then Drupad, excited with wrath, quickly pierced that mighty car warrior in the chest with a straight shaft. Those two foremost of warriors on earth, Somadatta's son and Sikandin, both conversant with every weapon, encountered each other in fierce battle that made all creatures tremble with fear. The valiant Burishravas, O king, covered that mighty car warrior, Jagnasena's son, Sikandin, with a thick shower of arrows. Sikandin then, O monarch, excited with wrath, pierced Somadatta's son with 90 shafts, caused him, O Bharat, to tremble. Those Rakshasas of fierce deeds, Hidamba's son and Alambusha, each desirous of vanquishing the other, battled most wonderfully, both capable of creating 100 illusions, both swelling with pride, battled each other most wonderfully, relying on their powers of illusion, and each desirous of vanquishing the other. The fierce Chikitana battled with Anuvinda. They coursed on the field, disappearing at times and causing great wonder. Lakshman fought fiercely with Shatradev, even as Vishnu, O monarch, in days of old, with the Asura Hiranyaksha. With his fleet steeds and upon his car duly equipped, Purava, O king, roared at Abhimanyu. Endued with great might, Purava then rushed at Abhimanyu, desirous of battle. Then that chastiser of foes, Abhimanyu, fought fiercely with that foe. Purava covered Subhadra's son with a thick shower of arrows. Thereupon, Arjuna's son felled his antagonist's standard and umbrella and bow on the earth. Then piercing Purava with 7 arrows, Subhadra's son pierced the latter's driver and steed with 5 arrows. Gladdening his troops thus, he then repeatedly roared like a lion. Then Arjuna's son quickly fixed an arrow on his bowstring that was certain to take away Purava's life. Beholding, however, that arrow of frightful mien fixed on Abhimanyu's bowstring, Haridika's son, with 2 shafts, cut off that bow and arrow. Then that slayer of hostile foes, Subhadra's son, throwing aside that broken bow, took up a bright sword and a shield. Whirling with great speed that shield decked with many stars, and whirling that sword also, he coursed on the field exhibiting his prowess. Whirling them before him, and whirling them on high, now shaking them and now jumping up himself from the manner of his handling those weapons. It seemed that with him there is no difference between that offensive and that defensive weapons. Jumping suddenly then upon the shafts of Purava's car, he roared aloud. Mounting next upon his car, he seized Purava by the hair, and slaying meanwhile with a kick the latter's driver, he felled his standard with a stroke of his sword. And, as regards Purava himself, Abhimanyu raised him up, like the Garuda raising a snake from the bottom of the sea, agitating the waters. Thereupon all the kings beheld Purava standing helpless with dishevelled hair and looking like an ox deprived of its senses while on the point of being slain by a lion. Beholding Purava thus prostrated, placed under control of Arjuna's son and dragged helplessly, Jayadratha was unable to brook it. Taking up a sword as also a shield that bore the device of a peacock and was decked with 100 bells of small size suspended in rows, Jayadratha jumped down from his car with a loud roar. Then Subhadra's son, Abhimanyu, beholding the ruler of the Sindhis, let Purava alone, and leaping up like a hawk from the latter's car, quickly alighted on the earth. The lances and the aves and the scimitars, hurled by his foes, Arjuna's son, cut off by means of his sword, or warded off by his shield. Thus, showing unto all the warriors the strength of his own arms, the mighty and heroic Abhimanyu, once more upraising his large and heavy sword, as also his shield, proceeded towards Bridashatra's son, who was a sworn foe of his Abhimanyu's father. Like a tiger proceeding against an elephant. Approaching, they cheerfully attacked each other with their swords, like a tiger and a lion with their claws and teeth. And none could notice any difference between those 2 lions among men as regards the whirl, strokes, and descent of their swords and shields. And as regards the descent and the whiz of their swords and the warding of each other's blows, it seemed there was no distinction between the two. Coursing beautifully, in outward and inward tracks, those two illustrious warriors seemed to be like two winged mountains. Then Jayadratha struck on the shield of the renowned Abhimanyu when the latter stretched his sword for making a pass at him. Then, O Bharat, Jayadratha's large sword, sticking into Abhimanyu's shield, covered with golden plate, broke as the ruler of the Sindhus attempted to draw it off forcibly. Seeing his sword broken, Jayadratha hastily retreated 6 steps and was seen within a twinkle of the eye to be mounted on his own car. Then Arjuna's son, also that combatant with the sword being over, ascended his own excellent car. Many kings then of the Kuru army, uniting together, surrounded him on all sides. The mighty son of Arjuna, however, eyeing Jayadratha, whirled his sword and shield and uttered a loud shout, having vanquished the ruler of the Sindhus, Subhadra's son, that slayer of hostile foes, then began to scorch that division of the Kaurava army like sun scorching the world. Then, in that battle, Salya hurled at him a fierce dart made wholly of iron, decked with gold and resembling a blazing flame of fire. Thereupon Arjuna's son, jumping up, caught hold of that dart like Garuda, catching a mighty snake falling from the above. And, having seized it thus, Abhimanyu unsheathed his sword. Witnessing the great activity and the might of that warrior of immeasurable energy, all the kings together uttered a leonine shout. Then that slayer of hostile heroes, the son of Subhadra, hurled with the might of his arms at Salya himself that very dart of great effulgence, decked with stones of lapis lazuli. Resembling a snake that has recently cast off its slough, that dart, reaching Salya's car, slew the latter's driver and felled him from his niche of the vehicle. Then Virata and Drupad, and Drishtaketu and Yudhisthira, and Satyaki and Kekaya and Bhim, and Drishtajumna, and Sikandin, and the twins Nakul and Sahadev, and the 5 sons of Draupadi, all exclaimed, "Excellent! Excellent!" And diverse kinds of sounds, due to the shooting of arrows, and many leonine shouts arose there, gladdening the unretreating son of Arjuna. Thy sons, however, could not brook those indications of the victory of their foe. Then all of them suddenly surrounded Subhadra's son, covered him. O king, with showers of arrows, like the clouds pouring rain on the mountain breast. Then that slayer of the foes, Attayani, Salya, wishing good of thy sons and remembering the overthrow of his own driver, rushed in rage against Subhadra's son. Poor Abhimanyu. What a hero. But he was. Would someone else like to take the reins?
Ooh, okay.
Oof.
Chapter 15. Section 15. I'll read from Ganguli's as well. Dhritarashtra said, "Thou hast, O Sanjaya, described to me many excellent single combats. Hearing about them, I envy those that have eyes. This battle between the Kurus and the Pandavas, resembling that of old between the gods and the Asuras, will be spoken of as exceedingly wonderful by men. I am scarcely gratified by listening to thy narrations of this stirring battle. Tell me, therefore, about this combat between Artayani, Salya, and Subhadra's son. Sanjaya said, beholding his driver slain, Salya, upraising a mace made wholly of iron, jumped down in rage from his excellent car. Bhima, then taking up his own huge mace, quickly rushed towards Salya, who then resembled the blazing Yuga fire or the destroyer himself, armed with a bludgeon. Subhadra's son also, taking up a prodigious mace, resembling the bolt of heaven, addressed Salya, saying, come, come. Bhima, however, with much ado, persuaded him to stand aside. The valiant Bhimasena then, having persuaded Subhadra's son to stand aside, approached Salya in battle and stood immovable as a hill. The mighty ruler of the Madras also beheld Bhima and proceeded towards him like a tiger toward an elephant. Then was heard there the loud blare of trumpets and conches by thousands, and leonine shouts, and the sound of drums, and loud cries of bravo, bravo, arose among hundreds of Pandava and Kaurava warriors rushing towards each other. There is none else among all the kings, O Bharata, save the ruler of the Madras, who can venture to bear the might of Bhimasena in battle. Similarly, who else, save Vrekodara, in the world can venture to bear the impetus of the illustrious Salya's mace in battle? Bound in hempen strings mixed with wires of gold, the prodigious mace of Bhima, capable of delighting by its beauty all spectators, being grasped by him, shone brilliantly. And similarly, the mace of Salya also, who, coursed in beautiful circles, looked like a blazing flash of lightning. Both of them roared like bulls, and both coursed in circles. And both Salya and Vrikodara, standing as they did with their maces slightly bent, looked like a couple of horned bulls. Whether as regards coursing in circles or in whirling and striking with their maces, the combat that took place between those two lions among men was in every way equal. Struck by Bhimasena with his mace, the prodigious mace of Salya, emitting fierce sparks of fire, soon broke into fragments. And similarly, Bhimasena's mace, struck by the foe, looked beautiful like a tree covered fireflies during the season of the rains at eventide. And the mace that the ruler of Madras hurled in that battle, irradiating the welkin, O Bharat, frequently caused sparks of fire to fly around. Similarly, the mace hurled by Bhimasena at the foe scorched his antagonist's forces like a fierce meteor falling down from the firmament. And both those best of maces, striking against each other, resembled sighing she-snakes and caused flashes of fire, like two large tigers attacking each other with their claws, or like two mighty elephants with their tusks. Mighty warriors coursed in circles, encountering each other with those two foremost of maces, and soon, covered with blood, those two illustrious warriors seemed to resemble a couple of flowering kingshukas. And the blows, loud as Indra's thunder, of the maces wielded by those two lions among men were heard on all sides. Struck by the ruler of Madras with his mace on both the left and right side, Bhima moved not in the least, like a hill riven by thunder. Similarly, the mighty ruler of Madras, struck by Bhima with his mace, patiently stood still like a hill struck with the thunder. Both of them, with upraised maces, endued as they were with great impetus, fell upon each other, coursing in shorter circles. Quickly nearing each other, then by 8 steps and falling upon each other like two elephants, they suddenly struck each other with those maces of theirs made entirely of iron. And each of those heroes, in consequence of the other's impetuosity and violence, being struck with each other's mace, fell down at the same instant of time like a couple of Indra's poles. Then the mighty Ka warrior Kritavarman quickly approached Salya, who, deprived of his senses, was breathing hard, and as he lay on the field. And beholding him, O king, struck violently with the mace, and whirling like a snake, and deprived of his senses in a swoon, the mighty car warrior Kritavarman, taking him upon his car, quickly bore the ruler of Madras away from the field. Reeling like a drunken man, the heroic Bhima of mighty arms, rising up within the twinkling of an eye, stood mace in hand. Thy sons, then, beholding the ruler of Madras turn away from the fight, began, O sire, to tremble along with their elephants and foot soldiers and cavalry and cars. Ground then by the Pandavas desirous of victory, those warriors of thy army, struck with fear, fled away in all directions, like masses of clouds driven away by the wind. And those mighty car warriors, the Pandavas, having vanquished the Dhritarashtras, looked resplendent in that battle, O king, like blazing bells, and they uttered loud leonine roars and blew their conches, elated with joy. And they beat their drums, large and small, and cymbals and other instruments. Section 16. Sanjaya said, beholding that army of thine, exceedingly broken, the valiant Vrishashena, single-handed, began to protect it, O king, displaying the illusion of his weapons. Shot by Vrishashena in that battle, thousands of arrows coursed in all directions, piercing through men and steeds and cars and elephants. Mighty arrows of blazing effulgence, shot by him, coursed in thousands, like the rays, O monarch, of the sun in the summer season. Afflicted and crushed therewith, O king, car warriors and horsemen suddenly fell down on the earth like trees broken by the wind. The mighty car warrior Vrishashena, O king, felled large bodies of steeds, of cars and elephants in that battle by thousands. Beholding that single warrior coursing fearlessly on the field, all the kings of the Pandava army, uniting together, surrounded him on all sides. Nakula's son, Satanika, rushed at Vrishashena and pierced him with 10 arrows capable of penetrating into the vitals. The son of Karna, however, that's who Vrishashena is, by the way, the son of Karna, cutting off his bow, felled then his standard. Thereupon the other sons of Draupadi, desirous of rescuing that brother of theirs, rushed at him, and soon they made Karna's son invisible by means of their arrowy showers. Against them, thus smiting the son of Karna, many car warriors headed by Drona's son Ashwatthama rushed. And those, O monarch, quickly covered those mighty car warriors, the sons of Draupadi, with divers kinds of arrows, like clouds pouring rain on mountain breasts. Thereupon the Pandavas, from affliction for their sons, quickly encountered those assailants. The battle then that then took place between thy troops and those of the Pandavas was exceedingly fierce and made the hair stand on end, resembling as it did that between the gods and the Danavas. Thus did the heroic Kauravas and the Pandavas, excited with rage, fight, eyeing one another furiously and having incurred one another's animosity for past offences. The bodies of those heroes of immeasurable energy then seemed, in consequence of the wrath that inspired them, to resemble those of Garuda and mighty Nagas battling in the sky. And with Bhima and Karna and Kripa and Drona's son and Prishata's son and Satyaki, the field of battle looked resplendent like the all-destructive sun that rises at the end of the Yuga. The battle that took place between those mighty men engaged with mighty antagonists and all smiting one another was fierce in the extreme, resembling that of yore between the Danavas and the gods. Then Yudhishthira's host, uttering a shout, loud as that of the surging sea, began to slaughter thy troops, the great car warriors of thy army having fled away. Beholding the Kaurava host broken and excessively mangled by the foe, Drona said, "Ye heroes, ye need not fly away." Then he, Drona, owning red steeds, excited with wrath and resembling a fierce elephant with 4 tusks, penetrated into the Pandava host and rushed against Yudhishthira. Then Yudhishthira pierced the preceptor with many whetted arrows equipped with kanka feathers. Drona, however, cutting off Yudhishthira's bow, rushed impetuously at him. Then the protector of Yudhishthira's car wheels, Kumara, the renowned prince of the Panchalas, received the advancing Drona like the continent receiving the surging sea. Beholding Drona, that bull among Brahmanas, held in check by Kumara, loud leonine shouts were heard there with cries of "Excellent, excellent." Kumara then, in that great battle, excited with rage, pierced Drona with an arrow in the chest and uttered many leonine shouts. Having checked Drona in battle, the mighty Kumara, endued with great lightness of hand, and above all fatigue, pierced him with many thousands of arrows. Then that bull among men, Drona, slew that protector of Yudhishthira's car wheels, Kumara, that hero observant of virtuous vows and accomplished in both mantras and weapons. And then penetrating into the midst of the Pandava host and careering in all directions, that bull among men, Bharadwaja's son, became the protector of thy troops. And piercing Sikandi with 12 arrows, and Uttamaojas with 20, and Nakula with 5, and Sahadeva with 7, and Yudhishthira with 12, and each of the 5 sons of Draupadi with 3, and Satyaki with 5, and the ruler of Matsyas with 10 arrows, and agitating the entire host in that battle, he rushed against one after another of those foremost warriors of the Pandavas. And then he advanced against Kunti's son Yudhishthira from a desire of seizing him. Then Yugandhara, O king, checked Bharadwaja's son, that mighty car warrior filled with rage and resembling the very ocean lashed into fury by the tempest. Bharadwaja's son, however, having pierced Yudhishthira with many straight arrows, felled Yugandhara with a broad-headed shaft from his niche in the car. Then Virata and Drupada and the Kaikeya princes, and Satyaki and Sivi, and Vyagradatta, the prince of the Panchalas, the valiant Singhasena, these and many others desirous of rescuing Yudhishthira surrounded Drona on all sides and impeded his way, scattering countless arrows. Vyagradatta, the prince of the Panchalas, pierced Drona with 50 keen-pointed arrows, at which, O king, the troops uttered loud shouts. Then Singhasena also, quickly piercing that mighty Ka warrior Drona, roared aloud in joy, striking terror into the hearts of mighty Ka warriors. Drona then, expanding his eyes and rubbing his bowstring and producing loud sound of slaps by his palms, rushed against the latter. Then the mighty son of Bharadwaja, putting forth his prowess, cut off with a couple of broad-headed arrows the heads decked with earrings from the trunks of both Singhasena and Vyagrathatta, and afflicting also with his arrowy showers the other mighty car warriors of the Pandavas, he stood in front of Yudhishthira's car like all-destroying death himself. Then, O king, loud cries were heard among the warriors of Yudhishthira's army to the effect, "The king is slain!" Then Bharadwaja's son of regulated vows thus stood in his vicinity, and the warriors there all exclaimed, beholding Drona's prowess, "Today the royal son of Dhritarashtra will be crowned with success. This very moment Drona, having seized Yudhishthira, will, filled with joy, assuredly come to us and Duryodhana's presence." While my soldiers were indulging in such talks, Kunti's son Arjuna quickly came there, filling the welkin with the rattle of his car, and creating, as he came, owing to the carnage he caused, a river whose waters were blood, and whose eddies were cars, and which abounded with the bones and bodies of brave warriors, and which bore creatures away to where the spirits of the departed dwell. And the son of Pandu came there, routing the Kurus, and quickly crossing that river whose froth was constituted by showers of arrows, and which abounded with fish in the form of lances and other weapons. And the diadem-decked Arjuna suddenly came upon Drona's divisions, covering it with a thick network of arrows, and confounding the very sense of those that followed Drona. Incessantly placing his arrows on the bowstring and quickly shooting them, none could notice any lapse of time between these two acts of the renowned son of Kunti. Neither four cardinal directions, nor the firmament above, nor the earth, O king, could any longer be distinguished, for everything then became one dense mass of arrows. Indeed, O king, when the wielder of the Gandiva caused that thick darkness by means of his arrows, nothing could be seen in that battle. Just then the sun also set, enveloped with a dusty cloud. Neither friend nor foe could any longer be distinguished. Then Drona and Duryodhana and took the withdrawal of their troops, and ascertaining the foe to be inspired with fear and unwilling to continue the fight, Vibhatsu also slowly caused his troops to be withdrawn. Then the Pandavas, and the Sanjayas, and the Panchalas, filled with joy, praised Partha with delightful speeches like the rishis praising the sun. Having vanquished his foes thus, Dhananjaya then, filled with joy, retired to his tent, proceeding in the rear of the whole army with Keshava as his companion, and stationed on his beautiful car, decked with the specimens of sapphires and rubies and gold and silver and diamonds, corals and crystals. The son of Pandu looked resplendent, like the moon in the firmament bespangled with stars. Someone want to go now? Section 17. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go.
Quarter of an hour, so we probably will do it. We've got to stop at 9 because I've got to go. I've got to hasten away. All right, I'll leave you to it.
Chapter 17. Sanjay said. The troops of both the armies, having proceeded to their tents, duly took up their quarters, O king, according to the divisions and the subdivisions to which they belonged. Having withdrawn the troops, Drona, in great cheerlessness of mind, beholding Duryodhana, said these words in shame. I told thee before that when Dhananjaya is by Yudhisthira, he is incapable of being seized in battle by the very gods. Although all of you fell upon him in battle, yet Partha frustrated all your attempts. Do not doubt what I say. Krishna and Pandu's son, Arjuna, are invincible. If, however, Arjuna of white steeds can, by any means, be withdrawn from Yudhisthira's side, then Yudhisthira, O king, shall soon come under thy control. Let someone challenging him, Arjuna, in battle draw him away to some other part of the field. The son of Kunti will not return without vanquishing him. Meanwhile, when Arjuna will not be by, O monarch, I will seize King Yudhisthira the Just, penetrating through the Pandava host in the very sight of Drishtadyumna. Thus, O monarch, I will without doubt bring Yudhisthira, the son of Dharma, along with his followers, under control. If that son of Pandu stays even for a moment before me in battle, I will bring him a captive from the field. That feat will be more advantageous than victory over the Pandava army. Sanjaya continued. Hearing these words of Drona, the ruler of the Trigartas, O monarch, with his brothers, said these words. We, O king, are always humiliated by the wielder of Gandiva. O bull of Bharat's race, although we have done him no injury, yet he hath always injured us. Remembering all those diverse instances of humiliation, we burn in wrath and are never able to sleep at night. By good luck, that Arjuna, armed with weapons, will stand before us. That, therefore, which is in our heart, and which we strive to accomplish, we are resolved to achieve now. That which will be agreeable to thee, and which will bring us renown. Taking him out of the field will slay him. Let the earth today be without Arjuna, or let it be without the Trigartas. We truly swear this before thee. This, our vow, will never be false. And Satyarata and Satyavarman, O Bharata, and Satyavrata and Satyeshu, and Bharat and Satyakarman, also, having spoken similarly, those 5 brothers together with 10,000 cars came, O king, before Duryodhana, having taken that oath on the field of battle, and the Malavas and the Tundikeras, with thousands of cars, and a tiger among men, Susarman, the ruler of Praschala, with the Mavelakas, the Lalitas, and the Madrakas, accompanied by 10,000 cars and his brothers, and with another 10,000 cars from diverse realms came forward for taking the oath. Then, bringing fire, and each making preparations for igniting one for himself, they took up the ropes of kushagrass and beautiful coats of mail, and equipped in mail, bathed in clarified butter, clad in robes of kushagrass, and with their bowstrings serving as girdles, those heroes who had given away hundreds and thousands as presents to Brahmanas, who had performed many sacrifices, had been blessed with children, and were deserving of blessed regions hereafter, who had nothing more to do in this world, who were deserving of blessed regions hereafter, who were prepared to lay down their lives in battle, and who devoted their souls to the attainment of fame and victory, who were desirous of soon repairing by fair fight to those regions hereafter, that are attainable by means only of sacrifices, with abundant presents to Brahmanas, and by means also of the rites, the chief amongst which are brahmachari and study of the Vedas, those heroes, having each gratified Brahmins by giving them gold and kine and a rose, and having addressed one another in loving discourse, ignited those fires and took that vow in battle. And in the presence of those fires, firmly resolved, they took that vow. And having made that vow for the slaughter of Dhananjaya, they, in the hearing of creatures, very loudly said, "Those regions that are for persons who have never adopted any vows are for one who drinketh wine. Those that are for him who hath adulterous connection with his preceptor's wife, those that are for him who robbeth the property of a Brahmana, or for him who enjoyeth the king's grant without satisfying the condition of that grant, or for him who abandoneth one asking for shelter, or for him who slayeth a candidate for his favour. Those that are for persons that set fire to houses, and for those that slay kine. Those regions that are for those that injure others, those that are for persons harbouring malice against Brahmins, those that are for him who from folly doth not seek the companionship of his wife in her season, those also that are for those that seek the companionship of women on the day they have to perform the shraddha of their ancestors, those that are for the persons that injure their own selves, or for those that misappropriate what is deposited with them from confidence, or for those that destroy learning, or for those who battle with the eunuchs, or for those that follow persons that are mean, those regions that are for atheists, for those that abandon their sacred fires and mothers, and those that regions also that are for the sinful, those shall be ours if without slaying Dhananjaya we return from the field. Or if, ground by him on the field, we turn back from fear. If, again, we succeed in achieving in battle feats the most difficult of accomplishment in the world, we shall then, without doubt, obtain the most desirable regions. Having said these words, O king, those heroes then marched to battle, summoning Arjuna towards the southern part of the field. That tiger among men and subjugator of hostile cities, Arjuna, thus challenged by them, said these words unto King Yudhisthira the just, without any delay. Summoned, I never turn back. This is my fixed vow. These men, sworn to conquer or die, are summoning me, O king, to great battle. This Susaruman here, with his brothers, summoneth me to battle. It behoveth thee to grant me permission for slaying him. With all his followers, O bull among men, I am unable to brook this challenge. I tell thee truly, know these foes to be already slain in battle. Yudhisthira said, Thou hast heard, O child, in detail what Drona hath resolved to accomplish. Act thou in such a way that resolve of his may become futile. Drona is endued with great might. He is a hero, accomplished in arms, and above fatigue. O mighty car warrior, even he hath vowed my seizure. Arjuna said, This Satyajit, O king, will today become thy protector in battle. As long as Satyajit lives, the preceptor will never be able to attain his desire. If, however, O Lord, this tiger among men, Satyajit, be slain in battle, thou shouldest not then remain on the field, even if surrounded by all our warriors. Sanjay continued. King Yudhisthira then gave Arjuna the leave he sought, and he also embraced Arjuna and eyed him affectionately. And diverse were the benedictions that the king uttered on him, having made this arrangement for Yudhisthira's protection. The mighty Partha went out against the Trigatas like a hungry lion, for assuaging his hunger upon a herd of deer. Then Duryodhana's troops, filled with joy at Arjuna's absence from Yudhishthira's side, because he had to be away from him in their strategy, became furious for the seizure of Yudhishthira. Then both the hosts, with a great impetuosity, encountered each other like the Ganga and the Sarayu in the season of rains when both streams are swollen with water. That's the end of that chapter 17.
I think, would it be all right to stop there?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop it.
Because
Oh
next
yes,
is going to
Matura.
go. Sorry, Dina, if you wanted to read.